And we got a man who has been sentenced to 165 years for the abuse of multiple children in Prince George County, Maryland.
Today, 4 women bravely faced the man who sexually abused them as children as he was sentenced to 165 years in prison. 3 of them had a message for their abuser and other possible victims.
25 years, and it feels so good to finally get justice.
This stuff ate him up, you know? Everything that he put us through, it's getting him back too.
Please come forward because you'll get justice just like we did. 160 years is probably not enough for me. I need more.
Cleophas Canton's crimes spanned more than a decade, during which he was a fixture in the community as a musician in local go-go bands. Our Christian Flores reports from Prince George's County.
From wiping away tears to embracing each other, it was a sigh of relief decades in the making for Cleophas Canton's victims.
There you go.
A judge handed down a 165-year prison sentence on Thursday after he was convicted in January for multiple counts of rape and child abuse that happened from the late 90s through 2008.
I was speaking up for the child in me, the child that wasn't seen.
Canton's victims were just children at the time of the crimes, like Brittany Sims.
I never thought I would have justice or anything. And excuse these raw emotions, but it just took 25 years.
Shantia Sims.
When I seen him today, he looked very sick. He was stressed out. This stuff ate him up.
And Keisha Spencer.
I'm not drowning anymore.
4 of Canton's victims testified against him during trial. One was repeatedly raped and abused when she was as young as 8 years old, until she turned 16. They all knew him through his relationships with family members.
We actually told our parents at 13. We told them and nothing changed. He was still there. Everybody treated him like family.
We understand that oftentimes there are different family dynamics that make reporting complicated. However, your child should be heard.
Even with
Question: should the family be charged when the child clearly tells them that something is happening, and they just act like nothing happens? They didn't report it. They didn't ask for an investigation. They just assume that they were lying or not telling the truth. But what happened to believing your kid? What happened to investigating or at least looking into it? Your own daughter comes to you at 13 years old and tells you someone who you are close with, who you think is a family friend is touching them, assaulting them, and you just go about your day like nothing, like she said nothing to you? At what point should they be charged? Or am I thinking too deeply into this? Let's keep going.
this prison sentence, the fight for justice is not finished. Both prosecutors and victims are pleading for more people to come forward if they were also victims.
Just please come forward because you'll get justice just like we did.
We are speaking up. We are protecting our kids.
Yes.
No more. My daughter is safe. I am safe now.
Christian Flores, 7 News.
165 years. One said that that's not enough. We want more. But at what point? Because think about this, y'all. 165 years. At that point, you're dying in prison. So why not just give him the death penalty in the first place? At least that's my thinking. What are we doing? What's the point? Maybe some would say that being him held in prison for the rest of his life is more harsher than the death penalty. But why are we wasting our tax money on just letting him live a peaceful, somewhat peaceful life in prison until he dies of old age? When we could have just saved the taxpayers' money. Or the people might think that's a little too harsh. Let's go over into this next video and just see what else it tells us.
Meantime, new at 5 tonight, a man in Prince George's County was sentenced to 165 years behind bars. He was found guilty of sexually abusing multiple young girls over the span of about a decade. Our John Duran was there to hear some of those victims speak about the sentence handed down this afternoon. John, what can you tell us about this case, and also what are some of the victims telling you?
Now, Lorenzo, 4 victims came forward. Some of them lived with the suspect, Cleophas Canton, and one, his biological daughter. They say today they finally got the justice they waited so long for. State Attorney
Did I just hear they said one of the victims was his biological daughter? Yeah. He needed. I think he should have gotten the death penalty.
Tara Jackson says the abuse started in the late 90s and continued through 2008. Canton was charged late last year and found guilty of 9 charges in January. 3 counts of child abuse, 3 counts of rape in the second degree, and 3 counts of sex offense in the second degree. In this case, the victims say they spoke up to their parents about the abuse when they were children, but nobody listened.
Some of the most horrific crimes occur within the home. Today, our victims talked about how both the police and the prosecutors created a safe space for them to be heard. And that is our goal.
It took me 25 years to get here. I never thought I would have justice or anything. And excuse these raw emotions, but it just took 25 years. And it feels so good to finally get justice. And I want whoever else is out there, please, please speak up.
Investigators believe Canton may have more victims, and State's Attorney Jackson says he already has a pending case. They encourage anyone that's a victim of abuse to come forward and reach out to police. Back to you in the studio.
It's so many people who were most likely hurt by this man. And it's all I can say is if you are ever the victim of any kind of assault, come forward and tell your story. The person does not deserve to get away with it. And you deserve to be heard and listened to. The world is a cruel place, and we need people who are there to protect the weak, the innocent, and who will fight against the cruel and the monsters that live in this world, the real life monsters. Let's get over into the AI breakdown just to see what else we can find out about this whole topic. 165 years. So on May 7th, 2026, Clinton, 60 years old, was sentenced to 165 years in prison for the sexual abuse and rape of multiple children in Prince George County, Maryland. He was convicted on 9 counts, including first-degree rape, second-degree child abuse, and various sexual offenses. The abuse happened between the late 1990s and 2008. The 4 identified victims include his biological daughter and the daughter and nieces of women he was in relationships with. Your daughters come and tell you that the man you're seeing is touching them, and you do nothing about it. At the end of the day, I think you're just as bad as him. The survivors waited over 25 years for justice, testifying about the long-term emotional toll and their relief following the verdict. Some victims had attempted to report the abuse when they were young as 13, but no actions were taken at the time. He has pleaded not guilty and is appealing the conviction. Prosecutors and survivors believe that they may be additional victims and urging anyone to come forward. So, there are some awful people in this world. So 2 of the victims in this case, Brittany Sims and her cousin Samantha Sims, stated that they told their parents about the abuse when they were 13 years old, but that nothing changed at the time. So according to Sims, after they spoke up, he continued to live in the house with them. He also continued to attend family events and holidays where he was treated like family. Because no action was taken when they first reported the incident, the survivor waited 25 years to see him held accountable. Canton's victims included his biological daughter and nieces of the women he was in a relationship with. Following the sentencing, the survivors urged parents to listen to their and protect their children. Also acknowledged that a complex family dynamic often, so that's the state attorney, noted that the complex family dynamics make reporting difficult. but urges family not to ignore children when they say they are being harmed. 100%. How can you how can you not do anything when your child comes to you with something that serious? Now, I don't know if you think they're lying. I don't know what's going through your mind when they bring that up, or if you think they're telling a story or they're just misunderstood. You have to investigate. You have to investigate. I don't care if they pleading and saying there's no way they would ever do that to them. They need to be invested. You got to take these things seriously because for the off chance that something did happen, the they need to be held responsible, family or not. At that point, they're no longer considered family. The world can be a very cruel place, and sometimes the people who are closest to you hurt the ones you love. And it's hard for some people to see that. But you cannot just push it off and then refuse to acknowledge it. The constant trauma that these children and young adults had to go through just seeing him being treated like family, treated like nothing happens when they were told, when they tried to tell somebody that this was going on. And it took 25 years to actually for him to be held responsible. 165 years. Now here's like the question I asked before. Is that just wasting the taxpayer money? At 165 years, we know he's dying in prison. You can't get there's no way when he's eligible for parole, he's already dead. So at what point, why can't we just have the death penalty for cases like this? Let me know your thoughts on that situation and let me know if you feel the same way I do or disagree with what I said.